I'm always amazed what healing arts can do.
Just doing my job. No need to thank me.
Hey. Is it just me, or have those two barely spoken a single word to one another?
I know, right? But after everything that happened with Miguel, is it really any wonder?
Kinda puts a damper on the whole journey though, huh? How long do you think they're gonna keep this up?
If it bothers you that much, why don't you ask them?
Why do I have to ask?
How come you walk together like that?
She really doesn't beat around the bush.
You mean Kisara and myself?
You hadn't noticed? You've been practically joined at the hip ever since we left Vicente.
I guess it's force of habit, most likely. I was always ready to protect him, should the need arise. It sort of came with the job description.
Right. From being in the Elder Menancia Guard. Although, Dohalim's pretty capable of defending himself, isn't he?
Having guards doesn't necessarily mean the one being guarded is weak. No one's perfect all the time.
Even so, it's not like they're entirely wrong, Kisara. You're no longer in my employ, after all.
I don't know. I mean, if it's what she's used to and you're both comfortable with it, then who are we to judge?
But she doesn't serve him anymore. It isn't normal for her to keep following him around like she still does.
You know, she's probably right. And a lot has changed over the last few days. I guess it wouldn't hurt to rethink our relationship in light of the new circumstances. Perhaps I'll give it some thought after all. Does that sound all right by you?
Of course.
You might want to stop asking his permission for every little thing while you're at it.
Sorry. It's not that easy, shaking off old habits. I'll probably need a little time to get fully used to it. I've noticed that sometimes we come across enemies who fight like you, and try to dodge our attacks at the last second.
I hate those guys. I can get some hits in when they move into attack, but otherwise they slip past damn near everything else I throw at them.
If what you're seeking is a way to more reliably hit them, there is a solution.
Try to outclass them on reflexes?
I possess the ability to command Earth elemental beings to some extent. They emerge as the land itself and take root on my command. They will swiftly bind the enemies, at which point you can dispatch them.
Huh?
What he means is that he can make plants grow to hold the enemies in place. At least I think that's probably what he's saying.
I'm glad at least one of us understands him. So basically, if we find an enemy that likes to dodge, we should let Dohalim handle it.
I shall do what I can within my modest means to help.
Dohalim's fighting style is... what's the word I'm looking for? Subdued? No...
Do you mean elegant, perhaps?
Yeah, that's the word. For better or worse, you can definitely tell he's cut from posh Renin cloth.
And he's not just skilled with the staff either. He can also use astral arts, including healing ones. I can see how he made it to the position of a lord.
You flatter me, but my fighting techniques merely come from a style that aims to conserve energy by minimizing body movement.
Is that why you wait until the last second before you dodge attacks? To avoid unnecessary movements?
No, I do that to sharpen my senses. I find that doing so is an effective means of drawing out my innermost strength.
Oh yeah, I've noticed you look stronger and strike out with your rod more after you dodge attacks. Guess that's why.
Still, it's a risk. Don't you ever worry you'll dodge at the wrong moment?
Then, it'll be just as well.
Huh?
It's nothing. Let us continue.
Why are you looking at me like that?
That armor you wear is standard issue for the Menancian Guard, right?
Originally, I've added some flair to it in a lot of places.
I noticed, especially with that open back.
We guardsmen pride ourselves on never showing our back to our enemies. It's my way of making myself live up to that. Plus, it makes it that much lighter and easier to maintain.
Dohalim, do you have anything to say about this?
Every guardsman is allowed to wear their armor as they see fit.
And you, La?
Huh? Why are you asking me?
Kisara, let's talk for a bit. Maintaining your shield? It's becoming a familiar sight.
Miguel was the one who taught me how to maintain my equipment after I first joined the Guard. Now, it's just a part of my routine.
Your brother always seems to come up whenever I talk to you.
That's because we had no other relatives, so it was just the two of us growing up. He was my idol, the one I looked up to and wanted to be like. When I became a guardsman, Lagiel wasn't too pleased to see me at first. It was Miguel who really welcomed me aboard.
Lagiel? Oh, right. She was Miguel's second in the Gold Dust Cats, wasn't she?
That's right. She's always been a very critical and down-to-earth person. In other words, the complete opposite of a dreamer like me.
You're more an idealist than some pie-in-the-sky dreamer.
Even so, that's my brother's doing. He'd never let me stop seeing a brighter world. He always did what he could to keep me smiling and happy.
You must have meant a lot to him.
He wasn't just kind, either. He always worked so hard to set an example for me and everyone else around him. He was a true big brother. So much so that when he thought I was asleep, he'd slip out of the house to go training on the outskirts of town.
You seem to know a lot about it.
That's because I only pretended to be asleep and would follow after him. You know what? I'm at a good stopping point with my shield. If you've got time, how about I tell you a couple more Miguel stories?
I guess I'd better get comfortable.
I'll take watch tonight. It's okay. Before we go, do you guys have everything?
Something feels odd here. Be on your guard.
I just noticed none of you other Danans have spirit cores. Why is that?
Both of my parents were part of the resistance in Calaglia. In fact, my birth was kept a secret from the Renans.
Mine too. We always lived in hiding, so I never had a spirit core embedded in me like I was supposed to.
What about you, Alphen? You were a slave in Calaglia before all this, weren't you?
To be completely honest, I'm not sure why I don't have one. All the other Danan slaves around me did. I was the only exception. They tended to keep their distance from me to avoid attracting any attention from the soldiers, because of my mask and all. What about you, Kisara? Do you still have your spirit core?
No. I was able to find a good Renan doctor who's sympathetic to our kind, and had them remove it before I left. They did such a great job, the procedure didn't even leave a scar.
One of the benefits of coexistence, huh?
I know that once the spirit vessel was shut down, there wasn't much need for me to hurry. But still, I didn't like having that mark of servitude lingering on me any longer than I had to. It may sound a little strange to hear me say this, but I'm just me now. Not a guardsman or a slave. I'm my own woman. And this is my chance to have a new beginning.
This sure is one rugged road. You'd think they'd keep this at least a little better maintained, right?
Why spend energy fixing that which is rarely used? Repairs require time and effort, which in our world means slaves, often in great numbers. For you, it may be a simple request, but that can quickly become another's difficult burden. Nobody gains anything without someone expending effort.
And you know, somehow that someone always ends up being a Danon, while the Renans are the ones who gain.
True enough. Ideally, in a perfect world, I think it's only fair that the ones who need it should be the ones to perform the work.
However, when doing so could be dangerous like it is here, there are many who would prefer that it be others who risk their lives in their stead.
So, what you're saying is that people will just put up with the inconvenience until someone else comes along to fix it for them?
Indeed. And it is those who can no longer bear that feeling that inevitably take action. Much like the Danons in our group do so now. As strange as it may be to hear such a thing from the likes of myself.
It's true that most of the Danons in Calaglia have been resigned to just accepting things as they are. Still, we can't just blame them for...
What are you making that face for? You're not worn out already, are you?
Nah, just regretting I ever said anything in the first place.
Finally, some open space again. Did we really just spend that much money?
Something feels odd here. Be on your guard.
This one's tough, but we have no choice.
Let me know if you need healing.
Stay calm. I shall provide
I'm also
assistance.
good with airborne targets.
I'm all stocked up. How's this?
We got flyers.
I've got this. Let a marksman handle it.
All yours.
Take it. You're mine.
Can you take it?
If it's in the sky, it's mine. It's over. Here. I'm all stocked up.
With the earth.
Where are you going?
Yours are not the skills of just any warrior.
Here I go. Save your compliments. We have to move.
Driven and
Impressive, Johaleen.
Float like a butterfly and sting like a bee. Or so they say. People say that.
Pull them away!
This should come in handy when crafting weapons.
All right.
There's nowhere to run from my heart.
When he slows down, that's our chance.
Take this!
It's like trying to keep up with a wolf.
You're mine!
Rotating
Double
fire.
Demon Fang!
Piercing roar!
Take it! You're mine! Double Demon Fang! Here I come! Double Demon Fang!
Elusive steel.
Johaleen, in an instant! Impact Block! We work well together.
Like a
You're
finely
mine.
timed waltz.
You're on! Double Demon Fang!
This one is mine!
Back into the play.
Look sharp!
Take it!
On guard!
Do it.
Johaleen, in an instant! Impact Block! Got some interesting moves there, Johaleen. I'm glad you're on our side.
I'm simply glad to hear that I can make myself useful to you all. Huh?
What's wrong?
We seem to have come across some rather unusual objects.
What, you mean that pile of garbage?
No mere garbage, I assure you. Still, I've never seen anything shaped like it before. I'm intrigued.
Are you curious about this stuff, Rinwell?
Yeah. think he might have found some old Danon relics. They look like the remains of a bunch of objects that disappeared after the Renans first invaded.
And yet here I am, holding them without so much as a second thought. I imagine the sight must be unsettling to you.
Not really, just that it must be nice to be a Renan who has time to indulge in stuff like that, unlike the rest of us.
Are you interested in this stuff too, Dohalim?
Charmed may be a better turn of phrase. I simply love objects that can give me a sense of what their maker was thinking, the history that went into their creation. You see, we Renans have hardly any such objects that trace back to our distant past.
I still don't understand what you two find so intriguing about it, though.
Why not? We're talking about our own culture here.
I get that, but it's not like this stuff is any use now, does it? It's just old. Real old.
Oh, but it does. Holding it in your hands like this, one can feel and engage with the distant past in a way no history book can ever accomplish.
I'll take your word for it. Well, seeing as it's Danon history, just make sure you're careful with it. All right, Dohalim?
But of course.
I sense a strange power from this.
Visibility along this path will remain limited for some time. Take care not to get ambushed.
I'm surprised you know the terrain here so well. Lords don't strike me as having much time for wandering in the woods.
Sometimes I would take strolls along here when I wished to be alone.
You always did have a bad habit of disappearing without telling any of us guardsmen.
We've got all the ingredients for that recipe now!
Great! I'll let you cook then.
Wait, what?
No choice.
Get behind me!
Can't get out of this. One more.
Here I go! I'm only getting radiant.
You made me angry!
Leave the edge on.
That was a bad idea!
Radiant pierce!
Shattering to pieces.
The airborne scoundrels!
Sounds like a job for yours truly.
Astral.
I'll take you all on! Ha! Flare the Malisa!
Here I go. It's over.
I think we can get through this.
Don't let up until it's
Here I
over.
go. I'm only getting
Who said anything about letting off?
Resonate with the
radiant pierce.
in an instant. Impact block. We work well together.
No defense.
Like a finely timed
It's
walk.
over. Here I go. I'm only getting
Your
radiant
blade
pierce.
moves like silk.
Radiant
That is what my
pierce.
instincts take over.
I'm all
How
set up.
fascinating.
Finish it.
These little...
In an instant. Impact block.
Good to know my training's paying off.
And what, pray tell, does this training of yours entail?
Why? Interested in... joining me?
one will be difficult to predict.
Still out, double demon fang!
Radiant, here! Take it! Airborne beast, my spec. This one is over. Radiant,
Mind freak! Why can't they just sit still?
Sia, can you take care of them?
no sooner said than done. It's over. Radiant, here!
You're mine!
There!
It's good!
Rising Wyvern!
Your armor won't save you!
Rising Phoenix!
I'm only get radiant, here!
Sword
Radiant,
Rain
here!
Alpha! Blow away!
Blood and sweet. One more! Well, we're on the home stretch now.
Don't take your eyes off the prize.
I'm quite aware without you remind...
Light burst forth!
Radiant Genesis! No defense!
Be
It's
still!
over!
Rising Phoenix!
It's over!
All yours, Kisara!
I suppose swords have their uses.
The size was a bit much, though.
It's so hilly around here. I can feel my feet getting blisters.
That's mountain hiking for you. It can... be pretty tough if you're not used to these sorts of trails.
I take it you're
Out of our way! Don't mind if I do. This I'm only getting... Here goes! It's a duel of the arts! There! I'm only getting radiant here! Radiant here! Radiant here! I'm watching weep. Got you! There! I'm only... These little ones are hardly worth our time.
Less talking, more pummeling.
The enemy
Cut them
wields
apart to your
arts,
heart. We'll soon see about that. Take it. I'm only getting radiant here.
Yours are not the skills of just any warrior.
Save your compliments. We have to move.
With an end,
Here I go. I'm only getting started. Primed and ready.
Come one, come all!
Here.
All yours, Kisara!
We did it!
I never had it. Doubt.
It'll take more than that to break my cheek.
Dependable. Alas.
You're mine.
Armor won't save you!
Blow away!
Take this. Radiant here. Radiant here. Radiant here.
Flaming thrust!
Back into the fray. Ready. Go on. Sighted.
I shall ensure you survive
Here.
this!
Radiant here. Radiant here.
Being filled!
See the enemy's arc to me. Get toasty.
Burn strike! I'm
I'm ready!
You're open! This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
See you continue on in that vein.
Yes, my lady?
Something you wanted to say?
Take it! It's over! Radiant light! I'm all stuffed up! Take this! Take it! One
I'm
more!
ready!
Elvis!
Commander of Heaven!
Phoenix Cyclops!
Sword and shield!
A classic combination.
An opponent like this should be easy. No escape!
If it's in the sky,
A
it's
new
mine!
melody.
Here!
In a bind?
You're mine!
This one's mine!
Take this!
Elusive deity, prepare to be sealed.
I'm out!
Actually, that sound is more appropriate.
Less talking, more doing!
You're mine! Double Demon Fang!
Look sharp. Look sharp.
Damn it!
Will this help?
Time to let it rip! You're mine! It's over! It's too much! I'm ready!
Did you just hear?
Astral energy! Full throttle!
Not a chance!
Resonate with the earth.
That's it!
Mirage!
Tiger Blade! By the power of water!
Double Demon Fang! Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno!
Radiant
Not a chance!
Can you take it?
Finish!
Elusive deity.
Fang!
Rotating pile driver. Now we're
Tiger Blade! I'm out of ammo!
You're mine!
Take it!
Double Demon Fang!
Annihilation! Make it rain!
Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade! We managed to pull through.
This'll make us even more formidable.
More Danon ruins here too, I see.
What were people even thinking back then? Trying to build anything around here.
Gotta break through! Here I come!
Piercing!
Can you take it?
Let the marksman handle this!
Here I come!
Take it! Radiant here! Radiant here! Make it rain!
Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade!
Now! Got
Rising Water!
Elusive
Too
deity.
excited! Tiger
Blade!
Radiant here!
Make it rain!
Kizara! Go for it!
Prepare to crumble.
Skills in top form, art's working like a charm. Ha!
Someone seems rather pleased with herself.
You... Did you hear all of that?
I sure have built up a sweat with this hike.
Rest assured,
We're in for a long slog with this one.
I'm
Like
only
mine
getting
through the
started!
flame. Armor won't save you.
There, ready!
Demon Fang! Double
Here!
Demon Fang!
Radiant, here!
Begin.
Eternal
Back into the fray! Help this!
Elusive deity.
There!
Lightning Thrust!
You're mine! There! It's over! Take it! I'm only getting started! Got it! Make it rain! Kizara! Go for it!
Prepare to crumble.
Think we overdid it?
Not by a long shot.
Lightning Thrust!
Look sharp.
Radiant, here! Radiant, here! Radiant, here!
Rising Water!
I'm all stuffed up! Go!
Elusive deity.
Lightning Thrust!
Rotating pile driver.
Excited! It's over! Take it!
Make it rain.
I'm only getting...
Commander of Heaven!
Phoenix Cyclops.
I'm ready for the next battle!
Whew, what a rush. What's this place here? Some kind of old house?
I don't know about that. If I...
Discourteous, aren't you?
You're mine! It's over!
It's go time!
Rising Wyvern!
What's the shot? Radiant pierce! Radiant pierce! Radiant pierce!
Sonic thrust!
Back into the
Rising
fray!
Wyvern!
Not in your dreams!
Take that!
Sighted! You're
Make
mine!
it rain!
Kisara! All yours, Kisara!
We did it!
Magnificently done!
I'm only getting started!
I'll smash you!
It's over! Radiant pierce!
Make it
Dopamine!
Light burst forth!
Radiant genesis! Now, watch and bleed!
Rising Wyvern!
One more!
No escape!
Radiant pierce!
Finish it!
Now, get toasty!
Burn strike! I can feel my power growing!
I'll do my best! This one's mine! There! It's over! Radiant pierce! Radiant pierce! Radiant pierce! I'm all stuffed up! Go! Radiant pierce! Here I go! You're mine! One more! Radiant
Now you've gone and ticked me off!
pierce! Sighted! It's over!
Rising Wyvern!
The tide of battle has turned in our favor.
I'm
Then
only
let's
getting
keep
radiant
pressing the
pierce.
attack!
Indeed, but remain ever vigilant.
Double Demon Fang! I owe you one.
I'm all stuffed up! Go! Radiant light!
Rising Wyvern!
Confiscated! Radiant pierce! Radiant pierce!
Resonate with the
Back
earth!
into the fray! Long! Get toasty!
Burn strike!
No defense! I'm only getting started! Radiant pierce! Radiant pierce!
Kisara! Commander of Heaven!
Phoenix Cyclone!
I feel sprightlier than before.
An opponent like
In the
this should
sky
be
is
easy.
mine!
No further!
Here's Mega Ray!
Can you take it?
Double Demon Fang!
How's this? Elusive deity!
Where are you going? Look sharp!
Resonate with the earth!
Tiger Blade!
You're
I'm
mine!
only getting started! By the
Here I
power
come!
of water!
Double Demon Fang!
Ready!
Stalagmite!
Lightning Meteor!
You're mine!
Lightning!
You're finished! That's not it!
Elusive deity!
Struck!
Rotating
Double
pile
Demon
driver!
Fang!
Leave the ensnaring to me!
No, yeah!
To me! Elusive deity! I'll face
Double
you!
Demon Fang!
Light burst forth!
Radiant Genesis!
I should be of some use to us now.
You weren't exactly dead weight before.
Except in regard to doing bait.
That's far enough! Crystal Spear! Here's evil!
Ignite!
Unguard! Freeze Lancer! Confiscate!
Rising Wyvern!
Here I go! I'm only get Radiant Pierce! Radiant Pierce!
In a bind?
Here I go! It's over! Radiant Pierce! I'm wanting weakness! How's this? Radiant Pierce! Radiant Pierce! Searing Flame! Reload! I'm out of ammo! I never miss! Here I go! I'm only getting Radiant Light!
Piercing roar!
Now! Take
Finish it!
Alpin! Astral Energy!
Say no more! This could be useful.
We got some good equipment!
I can't say its appearance is to my tastes, personally.
Retreat!
If you know what's good for you.
First aid!
You wanna play?
Come at me!
Armor won't save you! Rising Phoenix!
Radiant here! Radiant arch shield! Here! I'm out! How about this? Back into the fray! Got you! Take it! I'm only getting radiant here! By the power of water! Going in! Searing flame! Reload! Sighted! I'm only getting radiant here!
We've turned the tables on him.
There are still more left!
Right. No time to hold back.
That's it! Here I go! Tiger Blade! It's over! Radiant here!
Dragon form!
Finish it! Elton! This ends now!
Consider yourself finished.
See you continue on.
Yes, my lady?
Something you wanted to say? Any injuries?
Gotta break through. Take this.
Hear me! Flame of fury! Burning strike! Glacial
You want this?
evil!
Come get me!
This one's mine! This one's mine!
One guard! One more!
Radiant here! Radiant here!
Demon Fire!
It's a
Benediction light.
searing flame!
Come on!
Behold! The Earth's pulse! Tectonic vision!
I'm all stopped up! One more!
Never regeneration!
Radiant here goes! Here!
Let us take that break!
It's over! Radiant here! I'm back into the fray! How's this?
I'm ready!
Astral energy! Full throttle!
Small, but a victory nonetheless.
We have a long way yet to go.
Don't worry, I've got plenty to go around.
Take it! You're mob! Radiant here! Not on my watch! Here I go! It's over! Radiant here! I'm ready! Come and Kizara! Go for it!
Prepare to crumble!
Think we overdid it?
Not by a long shot.
Here! Back into the
I'm
war!
ready.
Go, Alim! This one's got your name on it!
Ashes to ashes!
No defense! I never miss!
Finish it!
Go, Alim!
Light burst forth!
Radiant innocent! No defense! I'm on guard! Radiant here! Radiant here! Radiant
I'm ready!
Lost! Get toasty!
Burn strike!
Pathetic! And a
On guard!
thank you! It's over! Radiant here!
Grind you into
Radiant here! Radiant here! Going in!
Through these lands most verdant green, my eyes alight for sights unseen. In Menancia, pure and pristine.
What is it you see exactly?
That's not for me to say.
We won that by a mile!
What's that big tower over there?
What do you say we check back in on the ranch?
Have you guys checked your equipment lately?
Done. This is sure to give the others some much-needed energy.
Kisara, let's talk for a bit.
Sorry for rambling on so much about my past earlier.
Don't sweat it. It was fun hearing you reminisce about the good old days.
Come on, you don't have to pretend with me. I know I can tend to go on sometimes, when it comes to my brother.
You said it, not me. Anyway, I don't think it's something for you to be embarrassed about.
Hey, Alphen. When you were a kid, was there ever a time when you had to bury someone younger than you?
Well, it's hard to say. I'm guessing that you have, though.
Yeah. During the previous crown contest, with the Lord before Dohalim. Life back then was truly hell. I think that's why I tried to ignore what Miguel was telling me for so long. Because I was afraid of going back to such a dark time. Of losing hope. I wanted to believe in our paradise so much that I doubted the one person I should have trusted most. I don't blame blame Dohalim for that. I simply didn't want to face facts. And I ended up trying to project my ideals onto everyone else.
It's strange. Whenever you and Dohalim talk about Menancia, it's always like it's some big failure. We're talking about fixing 300 years worth of damage here. Isn't it a bit optimistic to think it was all going to be resolved after only 5?
You might be right. Maybe it was a mistake when Menancia... No. When I decided to stop seeing the darkness in our society. I have to admit the truth. To myself, first of all. See you tomorrow. Rise and shine. We're almost ready to leave.
Choice.
Take it!
Get behind me!
Confiscated! Radiant, here! This one's Radiant, here! Radiant, here! Going in!
Make it rain!
Alphen! This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
See you continue on in that vein.
Yes, my...
I
Got flyers!
I've got this! Let a marksman handle it!
All yours!
Here! I'm out of ammo! Back into the fray! Leave the enemy's arts to me!
No complaints here!
There! You're mine! Take it! You're mine! Let the marksman handle this! I'm out! Go! I'm only getting started! Sighted! It's over! Radiant punch!
Thank you!
One!
Sword Rain Alpha!
Got me!
Make it rain!
Kisara! Go for it!
Prepare to crumble!
I need to be stronger.
Still thinking about how to act around Dohalim?
That obvious, huh? Except I don't think I'll be changing much after all. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to stay his servant. However, I am going to treat him like a fellow comrade, the same way I would with you or anyone else. For as long as I can remember, I've spent my life protecting others. But isn't that what friends do too? Support and protect one another in times of need?
Which in the end pretty much means doing as you've always done, right? If that's what you're most comfortable with, I'm certainly not going to give you any grief over it.
Actually, I've been thinking about how I ought to act around you all as well.
Oh?
When I set out on this journey, it was to rid Eldaman and Sia of its enemies, and search for wisdom in the outside world. Wisdom that I could potentially put to use on my return. I'm grateful to you all for letting me tag along. But it got me thinking, what am I actually contributing by being here?
What are you talking about? You know how to hold a weapon, don't you? That's help enough.
Is it though? Sometimes I wish there was more I could be doing to pull my...
Oops, sorry about that. Jeez, I'm famished.
Now that you mention it, what do you guys normally do for food and meals when you're out and about on your travels?
What do you mean, what do we do? We find stuff to eat and eat it. So long as it's meat, I'm not fussy.
Eating what you like can be good for morale in the short term, but you need to think about your diet if you want to stay healthy.
Does that mean eating vegetables too?
Isn't that obvious?
It does, which I guess hasn't been happening up till now.
Yeah, to be honest, we could be eating better than we do.
Understood. In that case, I'll just have to make sure you're all staying healthy and eating right myself. Fortunately, I happen to know a thing or two about cooking as well.
You hear that, Law? Sounds like you'll be eating your greens after all.
What is it?
No, sorry, it's just... I was just wondering if you had any thoughts on all this.
It will do her good to have a project.
No, not Kisara. I meant you. Was there anything you wanted to add?
Me? Certainly you're not looking to me for culinary skill, I hope.
Typical Renan, leaving everything to someone else.
Rinwell, I don't think...
That said, should you need my skills on the battlefield, please rest assured I have no intention of shirking my responsibilities, regardless of who we may face.
I'm sure no one doubts that. Listen, guys, if we're traveling together, we should probably at least try to make an effort to get to know one another, don't you think?
I wouldn't get your expectations too high in that regard. Believe it or not, sometimes I'm not sure I even know myself all that well.
Something wrong? You look like you're deep in thought.
Not exactly. I was merely thinking about you two and your sense of etiquette.
Oh?
Etiquette?
Indeed. To be quite frank, I find your lack of manners to be nigh intolerable.
That's not being frank, that's being and forget it. Do we really need to talk about this now?
Yes. I find such impropriety on your parts to be deeply unsettling. It concerns me greatly.
What do you want us to do? We were slaves. We never got to learn how to be proper like you.
Yeah, what he said. Maybe you missed how we were just focused on surviving.
Perhaps, but Kisara here demonstrates that it's quite possible for a Denon to learn proper manners.
That's because I was given the opportunity to learn. Moreover, my duties as a guardsman required it. Not every realm is like Menancia, as you well know.
Yeah, I don't think it's fair to hold us to some other city standards.
Exactly. You've got to remember what it's been like for us living under the Rena elsewhere.
I will concede that you do indeed make a valid point. It would appear, for all my espousing the virtues of equality between our peoples, I was still looking down on the two of you.
You don't need to beat yourself up. I wasn't that offended by what you said, man.
Nevertheless, I shall mind my words from here on out. Having said that, I do believe you two would still benefit from learning the basics of proper society. I would be more than happy to teach you both when we camp out, if you like.
Yeah, no, I'll pass. Acting all prim and proper isn't really my style.
If you say so. How about you, Law? Would you like to learn? Although I suppose my first task is to reform your attitude toward the idea of good etiquette.
You're not gonna let this go, are you?